She expected chaos. She expected tears. She expected arguments. But instead, you gave her silence. Not as a weapon, but as a revelation. Because in a world full of noise, your silence was the loudest truth she ever heard. This is the moment she realized. You were not like the rest. You weren't here to beg, to prove, or to explain. You were here to be. And when the time came, you simply weren't there anymore. This is the power of Stoic detachment. This is what it means to respond not with reaction, but with presence, self-respect, and stillness. 1. The game she played. She pushed you, tested you, pulled you in, only to push you back, and then pulled you again, expecting you to stay on the line. She thought your attention was hers to command, that your emotions were her playground. But you watched. You observed. You didn't react. You didn't argue. You saw through the pattern. She mistook your patience for passivity. She mistook your silence for weakness. She had no idea it was your greatest strength. 2. A Stoic doesn't chase chaos. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." She expected drama. But a Stoic man does not feed fire with fire. He lets it burn out on its own. You didn't retaliate. You didn't post online. You didn't start a debate. You simply vanished from the battlefield. That's when she began to question everything. Why didn't you fight back? Why didn't you chase her? Why didn't you come back for closure? Because you had already closed the chapter within yourself. 3. The power of walking away without a sound. There's a certain kind of silence that shakes the soul. Not the silence of ghosting. Not the silence of immaturity. But the silence of a man who has seen enough, and simply chooses peace over proving himself. This is what separates a Stoic man from a reactive one. You didn't disappear to manipulate. You disappeared to protect your energy, to honor your boundaries, to return to yourself. You realized her attention wasn't worth your dignity. Her games weren't worth your clarity. Her confusion wasn't your responsibility. And so, you disconnected. Fully. Permanently. Gracefully. 4. The wake-up call she never saw coming. When you were present, she took you for granted. Now that you're gone, she rewatches every moment. Not because you begged her to look back, but because silence invites reflection in a way words never can. She checks her phone, expecting a message. She replays the last conversation, expecting a sign. She starts posting indirect messages, fishing for your response. But you're gone. Not in anger, but in peace. You moved forward, without her knowing. And now, the burden of that realization sits on her chest like stone. 5. The Stoic strategy, emotional control. Stoicism teaches us one thing above all. Control what you can. Release what you cannot. You can't control how she feels. You can't control if she regrets it. You can't control whether she understands what she lost. But you can control how you carry yourself. You can control your standards. You can control your reaction, or lack thereof. In the quiet moments of her life, when the crowd is gone, when the fake smiles fade, she will remember the one man who didn't react, but acted in silence. That's the man she will never forget. 6. You are not here to prove your worth. You were not created to explain yourself endlessly. You are not on this earth to prove to someone who doesn't see your value that you're worthy. You are not a performer in her emotional circus. The moment you realize your self-worth is internal and not based on anyone's validation, that is the moment you become truly free. She thought you were waiting. She thought you would come back. She thought you were emotionally dependent. She never considered the possibility that you'd walk away without bitterness, without resentment, without any intention of returning. That's when your silence became your loudest message. 7. Disconnection is a decision, not a reaction. Disconnection isn't an emotional tantrum. It's a conscious decision. It's the moment when your peace becomes more valuable than her presence. A Stoic man doesn't disappear because he's broken. He disappears because he's healed. He's no longer looking for love in places that drain him. He's no longer seeking validation from someone who plays hot and cold. He's centered, grounded, unshaken. That is power. 8. Her world without you. She starts wondering, why haven't you reached out? Why haven't you tried to fix things? Was she not special enough? What she doesn't know is that this has nothing to do with her worth, and everything to do with your clarity. She played a game. You opted out. She wanted attention. You gave her absence. She expected a reaction. You gave her evolution. She created a storm. You became the calm. 9. The freedom that comes from stillness. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." You faced adversity, and you proved yourself through restraint. You showed that not every battle is worth fighting, that not every emotion needs to be voiced, that not every person deserves a response. Your silence isn't empty, it's full. Full of growth, full of discipline, full of wisdom. She will learn, eventually, that some men don't disappear because they're weak. They disappear because they've grown too strong to stay. 10. Never beg for a spot in someone's life. Let this be your reminder. You never need to convince someone to choose you. Love is not sustained through persuasion. Respect is not earned by pleading. If someone is uncertain about you, let them go. Your presence should never be a negotiation. It should be a privilege. And if that privilege is taken for granted, then your silence will remind them of its value. 11. The return to inner power. You didn't lose her. You found yourself. You didn't run. You walked, calmly and permanently. You didn't collapse. You leveled up. Because when a Stoic man is disrespected, he doesn't retaliate. He refocuses. He reinvents, and that transformation is irreversible. 12. Final message. Let silence speak. You were never weak for loving, but you became powerful when you stopped explaining yourself. Your silence is not a punishment. It is a lesson, a mirror. And one day, she'll look into that mirror and realize, you weren't trying to win her back. You were simply done playing games. Let her expect a reaction. You'll keep walking. Because true strength is not in shouting your worth. It's in silently knowing it. She expected a reaction. You chose disconnection. That's Stoicism. Stay grounded. Stay unmoved. Stay stoic.